So, episode 2 of The Next Generation is called The Naked Now. And so the gang goes to rendezvous with a ship in space, and they get there, and everybody's dead on the ship. And it's like, what? Everybody's dead? But there were I don't know, lots of people on the ship. So they beam over to the ship to see what's up, and everybody's frozen, and it's because people were playing with the environmental controls and made everything frozen, and some people are naked, and Data's like, this looks like the remains of a wild party. And Riker's like, that's kind of insensitive, Data. Everybody's dead. And everyone's naked except for the woman in the shower who is in her clothes. And then, what's going on? I don't know. But they touch somebody and it makes a doo-loo-loo sound. And then when they get back to the ship, Geordi is acting weird. He's ooh, because he's a little bit drunk from being on the ship. And then they have him in sick bay, and they're doing all kinds of tests. But Dr. Crusher's if he was drunk, I would know because I'm a doctor. And they're like, he's not drunk. It must be something else. And Riker, Geordi goes, he leaves sickbay, he goes to visit Wesley Crusher, who's has a toy he's got a toy tractor beam that he made for a science project, and he's Geordi's like, hey, nice tractor beam, and he pats him on the back or whatever, or touches his neck or something, and then he's transfers whatever drunk sickness he has to him, and then he goes to visit Tasha Yar. You can really see how a pandemic really spreads because Geordi just walks everywhere and goes to see everybody. And he goes to see Tasha Yar, and he's like, Tasha Yar, I'm blind and I never get to see a rainbow or a sunset. And Tasha Yar's like, okay, chill. Just, touch my hands and give me a virus. And then and now Tasha Yar has the virus, and she becomes a mega slut, and she's walking around the ship, look at me, I'm so hot. She randomly kisses an extra. It's ooh, this is intense. Then Dr. Crusher is infected because she was examining Geordi. She comes over to the captain, and she's trying to seduce him because she is all drunk now because they got drunk from the disease from the ship. They're oh, sexy. And then Picard makes this ridiculous sound. It's and that's supposed to be him being horny, I guess. But it was what? And then Data is sent to go get Tasha Yar because it's where's Tasha Yar? She's supposed to be working. And he goes to visit her, and she's oh, she was she had just come from Counselor Troy's quarters. That's right. She went to Counselor Troy's quarters, and she's like, you wear such beautiful outfits. How come I don't have beautiful outfits? And Troy's like, why don't you go to sickbay? Because you're acting weird. And she's like, I want beautiful outfits. La, 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 la. And she leaves to go get a beautiful outfit. So, when Data comes to Tasha Yar's quarters, she's wearing this, I Dream of Jeannie type outfit with, billowy pants and, a exposed navel. And she's got her hair in this weird little, Superman curly Q, and she's like, I'm so sexy, look how sexy I am. And she says, don't you have a sexy time program? And Data's like, I totally do, and I'd love to try it out on you, or something like that. He's like, I'm fully functional. And they And they totally do it, but off camera because it's like a PG show. And then when Data comes back to the bridge, he like is drunk, even though he's an android, but like the power of sexy time made like it even work on him. And he kind of like leans like this and falls over. Everybody's drunk. Meanwhile, Wesley Crusher, who is also totally wasted, he goes down to engineering and takes over the entire ship using his toy tractor beam to turn it into a force field so no one can come in. And like the only person that's in there is like this assistant engineer who's only in one episode, probably because he gets fired after this, and he's yanking isolinear chips out of the computer so they can't even drive the ship anymore because he's like wrecked it basically. And then they realize that they're like right next to some kind of a supernova or space junk or something that's going to explode. A star is going supernova. Because that's why that original ship was there, to study this place. And Riker is like, hey, you know what? I remember there was an episode just like this in the original series, and you could like cure it by looking in the files of like Captain Kirk and the Enterprise. And so they like look through the files on the computer and they find the antidote, but it doesn't work at first. So Dr. Crusher has to like do doctor magic. But it doesn't even matter because there's like debris from the explosion and they can't leave because all of the isolinear chips are like out of the computer. And he's like, so I don't know, him and like Riker and the chief engineer, who is also only in one episode. This is like, or maybe 2 episodes. I don't know. They changed chief engineer like every other episode in the first season. So they're like trying to turn off the force field, and finally they get in. Data, it's his job to like put the isolinear chips back in because he's an android and he can do it really fast, but he's like so drunk that he doesn't even know why he's doing it. And Riker's like, come on, faster. And he's like, well, it's gonna take a lot more time than we have. Yup, yup, yup. So he's doing it like really fast. His hands are a blur, but he doesn't even care. He doesn't have enough time. Everyone's gonna explode. They're all gonna die. No, and Data does not even care, but he's still doing his job. Because even drunk, he'll do his job. And then, so Wesley Crusher has an idea. Nobody wants to listen to him because he's a child and he literally just take over the ship and cause a whole bunch of headache to everyone. But he's got an idea. It's going to save the ship. And what we're going to do is we are going to use the real tractor beam, just the way he used the toy tractor beam to turn it into a force field. We're going to use the real tractor beam to turn it into a force field and like push that other ship away and give us a few seconds of time so that Data can finish with his game, right? And so he does like and the chief engineer probably gets fired after this episode because she thinks it's impossible and this stupid kid can do it in like 3 seconds. And they push the other ship away and everybody is saved, no one dies. And then Dr. Crusher is like, I figured out the antidote, and he with the hypo spray to everybody, and that is the end of The Naked Now. Bye.